camera. There we go. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the stream here. I hope you guys are having a great day here. I'm actually doing pretty good myself, and I'm really excited about this stream. We're being back in Planet Coaster working on my theme park, which is called Thunder Lake. I've actually been working on this kind of off and on since the last stream, and I've been kind of excited to actually show you some of the progress I made. I did go ahead and place a couple of things just to kind of get us on the right, come on camera, on the right track for this stream, and I think we're really going to enjoy it there. So guys, let's go ahead and hop into the game. I've already got it loaded up. Trust me, because this game is now taking about, why is my camera, hold on one second, I'm going to fix my camera really quick. New capture device. For some reason it keeps autofocusing, and I don't know. I turned it off and it keeps popping back on. Configure video. Let's see, camera controls, focus. There we go. That's better. And hit. Ooh, hold on. A little fuzzy, maybe. I don't know. I'll look okay there. But yeah. There's some things I wanted to show you guys that I did last, or that I've done during the week here. Some are a little bit smaller, some are rather big. So let's go ahead and jump right into it here. So here's actually our shrimp shack. You notice there is no sign on it. Haven't still come up with a name yet that I like. Make sure this game audio up is just up a little bit so you guys can hear the music. But if you notice, our monitors are actually colored now. So yes. I think Wednesday, the day after the stream, I actually went back through and actually did some basic signs. You can see here if we zoom in on the first one here. If I can, there we go. There actually is a menu board out here now. Nothing too crazy, but I do quite like that kind of a little bit of extra detail. This took me quite a while to actually do, unfortunately, but I do like this. What I'm more proud about, though, is actually the souvenir bottle advertisements. And yes, those are real souvenir bottles. If you guys don't know, the company who makes these style of bottles, well, actually, they make quite a few different bottles. It's a company called the Whirly Drink Company. And I remember making these bottles for hours upon hours when I worked at Kings Island, which was assemble them by hand. Essentially, there are just 4 parts. You have the main bottle itself, you have the lid, the handle, and the straw. And so you just had to put those together. But if you do look kind of close here, this actually, oop, come on. This actually is a 2020 souvenir bottle from Thunder Lake. It even has our name. It's got the splinter in the background and kind of the boardwalk section here. And I think that was hilarious. But yeah, that took me a little bit. But yeah, I really like how that looks. If we go inside here, we do have the menus up here, as well as has the souvenir cups over here as well. And I quite like that. I mean, it actually, now fair enough, these souvenir bottles don't match they don't have the logos on them, but it's the same style of cup, which I think is awesome. I wish I had a handle on it and then I could actually edit these textures so that I could have these logos on there. But that's okay if I can't. Really, nothing, that's about all that's changed in here. If we go, I'm kind of be a little careful for a reason. The menus do look pretty good like this as well. They're a little more, they actually look a little more presentable like this. I actually was trying to style these off a little bit more like the Disney ones, where it would tell you what they are. So, you know, these have the 4 different platters on them. Tell you what they are. Then have the size down here so that you can pick which one it is. I did want to have a second menu board, but I kind of ran out of time and I didn't really know what to put on it. So, there is that. Now, I've been trying to keep my camera pointed towards the lake for a reason. I get a little carried away, fair enough. I actually added in our new section. So, the new section we're going to work on is where Shockwave is, which, by the way, learned yesterday that there actually is a aero corkscrew coaster called Shockwave. Didn't know that, but I thought it was rather funny. But yeah, I've actually laid out all the rides I think I want to put into the new section, but I also kind of detailed one kind of off camera. So that's why I was going to turn around here, kind of slowly reveal what we've got here. And so yes, my thinking for this, and you can see here it's a go-kart track. My thinking behind this was, you know, it was be something to upsell to a guest. If you don't know what an upsell attraction is, something once you enter the park, you have to pay again to actually ride certain things. And a go-kart track would probably be one of those things. I know when I worked at Kings Island, we had one called Days of Thunder. And then it actually changed its name to Thunder Alley, and that's what I've named this one. So I did do a little bit of a custom sign here. It's not really fancy or anything like that, and some of the details are kind of sparse around here, but I kind of left it like that as kind of on purpose so I can do some of this on stream. But I really kind of ran out of ideas to do it well. But also, if you look here, the patio has actually pretty much doubled in size. And I did that, I was looking at it and I'm like, because the original patio came to about here, and this was it. And I'm like, that's a nice size patio, but it's kind of small. You know, it's only, what, 7 or 8 tables? And I thought we had this little area right here, and then it's a little extra here. I'm like, you know what? This would be a great area for a patio. It'd be a great space. I'm also thinking about putting some smaller, like, carts here, so things that you sell like cotton candy or Dippin' Dots from, like right here, so that, excuse me, so they can come here and sit as well and enjoy the lake. And it's right by the lake, so it makes it look, once you get, you know, once we put the wall up, it'll kind of look like that, and I kind of like how that looks anyways. And we also did have another umbrella down, just because the manager forgot, and I think that's hilarious. But actually moving to the go-kart track itself, it is pretty much just a basic oval. It really is a small track. It's one of the smaller ones I could build in kind of the area it was in. I did want to fill up this area. We did actually add this path as well. You can kind of see the rest of the rides I have planned out already. But I designed this course. I'm like, I was going to design it where pretty much where across the street from Shockwave in the Discus ride. But I actually, the game actually crashed on me. And so I had to rebuild this. And I thought to myself, I'm like, I thought this would be a little bit better area for it. We had to dig into the hill a little bit here, but we also had to build this area up down here. And so we could kind of we cut the dirt from here and filled it in down here. And made this little go-kart track, and I kind of like how it looks. It's very similar to, if you're a big NASCAR fan, a big racing fan, to Martinsville Speedway. It's actually banked in both corners. It's very narrow, or very tight turns and very long straightaways. So I was watching that race when I was building this, so maybe that's where I got the idea from. But yeah, this is our little speedway here. I did start working on a little bit of a backstage area. If you actually see here, well, number one, you see our little announcer's booth. I love how this looks. It does say Lakeland Speedway. It's not really based on anything. But if you go to like a local dirt track or something like this, they'll have this like little announcer's booth just on the side of the track here. And I figured that a rides operator could sit up here and watch the backside of the track while this guy watched the front of it, just to make sure everybody was doing what they should, things like that. We do have an exit gate right here, and we also have kind of a maintenance area is what I was kind of going for here. This tractor, I don't remember who made this, but yeah, this is from the both the go-kart here and the tractor is from the workshop, and you can go look those up. Let me see if maybe I can find out who did them real quick. This could take a minute here. Go over to blueprints, see what we got. It does not say who created these. Wings and Strings. Okay, so that would make sense, because I think every vehicle that's like this on the workshop is probably from Wings and Strings, so that makes a lot of sense. Thank you to him for making those. And then after this, so I did do a little bit of detailing. I do also have some billboards, just some basic scaffolding back here. A lot of local tracks would have those, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to see on here. But then I thought to myself, I have no idea what amusement rides would have come out in the 80s. I know aero loopers were a big thing, or I'm sorry, aero corkscrews, because aero loopers are a different thing. These were more the late 80s, so I was kind of coming up with a timeline of what they would have added into this park as they were building it. And I came across some interesting stuff. Free fall drop towers were just now coming out. There was a ride called Breakdance, I think it was called, and it was this ride here. And it was like 1982 when this first debuted. I'm like thinking that would be great. A Gravitron. I don't know if I didn't see exactly when this was invented, but it would make sense in a park like this. I know it's a little bit older ride. I know it's a big thrill ride too, so I think this would be a great ride to have in our park. But the big one I saw was actually the Rapids rides. The first started showing up around 1985. So I thought, that would be a great kind of another big ticket ride over here, along with Shockwave. So um, that was kind of the 5 rides I wanted to add it in here. In here will probably be some sort of restaurant again. I don't know. I might. One of my first work location was called Hank's Burrito Shack, but it also was attached to a beer garden. I think that'd be kind of neat to put back here. Actually, have a walking path coming off from here, kind of working our way back, having a nice big patio and seating area back here, and have our restaurant up here. That the idea would be more. It would kind of be more like a German Wiener House using the Dr. Wurst, I think it is, in the game. I think that might be a great idea to do here, along with the beer garden, things like that. So I think that's what's going to go there. Haven't really decided what I'm going to do here. I haven't added any queue paths or anything like this to this area here, but I wanted to get all the rides laid out so I can figure out, okay, I know this is going to probably stay as a backstage area, probably all along through here. It's kind of a narrow, thin backstage area that we could use for ride maintenance. We can also use for some storage for this restaurant here, and maybe even you might put some like a merchandise shop in here somewhere. So, or I might put it there. Actually, I didn't think about this, but this is our kind of a bigger attraction. This is our Rapids ride, and I just kind of laid out a basic area here. I know my dad actually gave me a really great idea. He thought this was an 80's area. A lot of big, action movies and things like that came out in the 80's. So he thought it'd be kind of cool to do a studio tour through like a generic studio tour through that stuff. But also at the same time, I was thinking like this is kind of a small area, even for rides. So I have a lot of other room I could use. So I didn't think that would be a great spot for it, but I do want to kind of get the idea. I also thought about doing an 80's like movie ride that you use the blasters for. So I came out with the Ghostbusters DLC. We actually have the shooting rides. I think that'd be kind of fun too. That's one of the ideas. I don't know how I'm going to implement it yet. But that was kind of the idea. But here is the Rapids ride that we are coming up to. It's a very basic one. So a lot of this is going to have to be scenery that we're going to do. And I'm thinking we kind of want to make it look like you're going back into these woods area back here, and maybe enter a tunnel here before you came back out up the left hill here. Not 100% sure if how I'm going to do that yet, but that was kind of some of the ideas. Now I did get an idea, just kind of as some lore a little bit. I'm thinking this area here was originally an access point to the from the backstage area here. So this black road here is actually like an access road. Would have been an access point here to get to this side of the park originally when it opened. And I'm thinking something must have been here maybe that would have stopped that. But when they put the discus ride in, because I don't think discus rides came out until like the 90's. Same with like top spins, which I do have a plan to put one of those in. They would have added this gate in here, and if you can kind of see here that one of them is fairly new. Kind of the joke is that one of those that side of the gate was either hit by a truck or something like that, and had to be replaced. So it hadn't been painted yet. So you can kind of see how this looks. So that's kind of the access point there. So when they put this access point in here, they didn't need this one down here. But we do have this platform here. This is actually going to be the water system for the Rapids ride. It's going to be where they chlorinate the water and things like that. And I don't quite have that one planned out yet. I know I want to put the chlorination in the pumps here. Just don't know how I'm going to do it quite yet. So yeah, that's kind of the overview I wanted to do of the 80's area. I did want to start doing some of the theming of this ride. Maybe work on the station here, things like that. I think it'd be rather fun, and it'd help to draw more guests over here. And I really want to start connecting up the path over to our other gondola area here, because you see here, this is where our gondola comes in at. It actually goes over the lake here, and then ends up over at the boardwalk. Now this one, I did this kind of out of whim because I wanted to see how this would work. I think it's an okay path. I might, because we wanted to, put our fireworks displays out here. So I'm okay with it coming out this far and then going around, but I might move this station over a little bit more, just so that kind of in between the 80s section, which is pretty much here, and the 90s section, which I'm planning on putting in here. I don't know quite yet, but you know, we'll see how that goes. But today I did want to work on this Rapids ride. Specifically, I wanted to work on the queue line and the station itself. Now, I'm not really basing this on anything. However, I do think it would be nice to try and get maybe like more of a wood theme, kind of like maybe I'm thinking like log cabinish for the station. Not 100% sure yet. So let's just start placing some queue paths and see how this goes. Now, Rapids rides, I know the one I worked at Kings Island, that's what I was afraid of. So let's actually see if I can move this entrance down more. See if I can get this piece of terrain out of the way. Because for some reason last night it would not want to move. I'm not sure why. Nothing. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to edit the station back just a couple of meters here. Like right here, can we nuke that? And then hopefully we can now edit the terrain down. Yeah, there we go. And then re-add that part back in. Let's see, I think it's exit left and right, so there we go. Now we can move the entrance and exit back to where they were. Let's see, by the entrance here. Not sure where I want to put the exit at yet. So I'll put it kind of just there for now. Originally, I wanted to add more water underneath here, but as I've learned that you really can't do that, unfortunately. So, oh well. Now, kind of the other thing is, I do want to add a bridge over across the water here. How I'm going to do that, I'm not 100% sure yet. I've also noticed that this path is a different size than the rest of this. So I think I'm going to go ahead and edit that just a little bit here. Let's see here. I'm using the stone path there. So let's pull this back. It is 6 meters wide. Yes, it is. Okay. Just wanted to make sure there. I want to follow this path as close as I can because I do like where it's at. I think it gives us plenty of room for what we want to do. Oop, wrong way. Hold on. There we go. You can even kind of see where I was kind of playing around with the idea of putting an entrance there. Originally, I had thought about doing an entrance there. Ooh, that's not what I wanted to do. Somebody might be able to make this work. There we go. Let's actually bring this back a little bit. And let's just bring this one straight out. Well, the game will cooperate. I want to bring this straight out. Like this. There we go. I think that looks a little bit better now. Now I do want to bring a bridge across here. And I think I want to make this like 4 wide. I don't want to make this too big of a bridge here. And if I do something like this and then bring it up. Let's actually make it a ramp. So it's going to be a little harder to get across here. That's okay, because I do want to... I'm making this park as realistic as I can. And so I do want to have things like wheelchair access that's available. And I think that'll look rather nice across there. And then do something like this. And bring the ramp down 3 and across like this. Now, what I should do actually is probably work on the landscaping first. So that this isn't floating. But that's kind of how I want it, you know. That's probably how the exit's going to go. And the entrance, I kind of want to, I don't know if I want to bring it across on the other end, maybe. Start it here. Work our way up, across, over, and then do probably cattle pens, probably somewhere in here so you guys can, so people coming onto this ride would see people coming up here and see how wet they are and how much fun they're having. Do a cattle pen like this, and then bring it along maybe the station here, and then back out and do one more before they come in, maybe something like that. But let's actually work on the landscaping first. So first thing I want to do is bring this across. I know we'll have to kind of dig the ride back out here in just a moment, but that's no big deal. And I noticed around here that for some reason it doesn't like me. I think it's 4 wide. Yeah, it looks nice. That it doesn't like me building right up to the platform's edge, which kind of stinks because I do want to make this look like it's incorporated into the ground more. But if I just have to leave it like that, I have to leave it like that, unfortunately. But so I can just come on, there we go. That's not great. Landscaping is not one of my strong suits in this game, I'll be honest with you, but I can do pretty good with it. All right, let's back this one up just one more, and hopefully we can flatten all this terrain out then. And we can. Cool. Let's just go ahead and do this for the entire interior of this ride here. Just so that we don't have to worry about pathing or anything like that. We can just kind of focus on building the interior here. Come on. This game is starting to slow down a little bit on my computer. It's not too bad as of yet. It's taken about 3 or 4 minutes now for the game to load, which I've heard is not terrible with some parks. I mean, you look at something like Pinewood Hills or something like that. Oh, crap, that's not what I wanted to do. They take up 10-15 minutes just to try to load. So I'm okay with 2 or 3 minutes, but I just gotta remember to launch it before the stream starts, because I have forgotten. Past couple of weeks I've kind of slacked off a little bit and forgot to load it, and then we're just kind of sitting here chatting while the game loads. Something like this would work. And I don't really want to go too far into this area because I want to try to smooth this a little bit. I do have a bit of a ramp here, and that's kind of what I wanted. I can just kind of smooth this out a little bit. And just try to make like a small ramp here. I don't know if it'll exactly work, but I'll give it a try. It's not perfect, I get that, but I got at least select a nice little ramp here that'll work. Let me go ahead and just paint this really quick once again, just so that we have. I kind of want to do this busted up asphalt, just so it shows that it's a little bit older, which makes sense because if this ride was built in the 80s, if this was the original pump platform, kind of makes sense. So yeah, let's go ahead and. We really need to swap around the entrance and exit here, don't we? If we were going to do the entrance down here and then the exit, let's do as far forward as we can, and then place the entrance. Oh, that's the exit. Place the entrance as close to there as possible, and I think that'll work. And then let's just try to get this done a little bit quicker here. So like 10 maybe. Or 11, that'll work. That's not what I wanted though. So if I can bring this all the way up to this height, then I can kind of play around with if I want to put a cliff in, or want to put like a mountain scene or a tunnel. I did think about putting a tunnel in here. I think that'd be kind of neat. So I think it's going to be a little bit easier for me to actually have it to where the top of the flume is actually at ground level. Maybe this is just me. Could just be me thinking this, and then someone come along later and says this is completely wrong. What are you doing? But that is kind of the risk I run sometimes in this game. Now, while I do watch some other people how they do it, I kind of like trying some different things in here. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, which is kind of the idea of things. If you don't try things like that, you'd never know how it's going to work out. So let's. This is one thing I wanted to try too. Now, beforehand, I actually did create a raft ride in one of my other parks. I did. This is actually my third park I've actually tried to create. The first two were just not great. Um, they had some good ideas in them, but I just don't quite think they would have been ones I'd been proud to show off. If that makes sense. But there was a couple spots that I really did like in them. One of them I remember I actually did a raft ride that was relatively nice. Probably a lot out of scale. I think that was kind of one of the issues with it. And also, I remember there was another one. I still have the parks. So if you guys are curious or want to see them, I can show them off. They're fair warning, they're not great. But they there's one that I actually had built like a sci-fi area in it, and because I haven't seen too many people doing sci-fi areas, and I was actually pretty proud of it. I kind of based it on Tomorrowland from Disney. If instead of going to the moon, we went to Mars, kind of idea. It was kind of the whole idea for it, and I think it worked out really well. I liked how it looked. So, all right, how am I going to do this? Something like this, maybe. It's like, do I like this? Because it kind of. We'll leave it for now. It's not the best looking exit in the world, but it seems like it should work. So let's work on a queue path. Let's see here. Let me just diagonal wood here. It'll work. And then I do want to wrap it around this way here, so people can see what other people are experiencing on the ride. Let's see. Bring actually back a little bit more and try to hug this turn a little bit more before I start the last cattle pin here. And then we're just gonna do something like this. Now, I have a feeling when this ride originally opened, this was a pretty popular ride. I mean, if you think about the 80s, I wasn't alive, but it seems like this would have been. Oop, that's not what I wanted to do. Like, this would have been a revolutionary concept. This is, I mean, you had things like the log flume beforehand, but it seems like this is, even today it's still a popular ride. So it's not like I'm, pulling this out of my butt or anything, but it just seems like to me this would be something everyone would want to ride. Number one, especially if it was hot, they would want to come ride this ride because, I guess before this you really only had like something like a log flume, which is a little more predictable, I guess. The front people in the cars would get more wet than someone in the rear. But this ride, you have no idea who would get wet next, which is, I kind of like the idea of this ride. So, to me, having quite a few cattle pens might not be the worst idea in the world. What I might do as well is actually have a suggestion of one over here, maybe actually built into the mountain a little bit, but not actually build a queue path, have it blocked off, kind of like how I do on Shockwave, where we really don't need it unless it's a really hot day. Do I want to do another path this way? I really don't have the room to, so do something like this, and then bring it out this way, just a couple of spaces. Bring this here, and then we'll start the ramp here. 3 down, 1. Got obstructed. Why is it obstructed? Because it's the same height as the other one, or maybe not. Maybe we've got one more. Let's see here, and then we'll bring it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Do we want to just leave it like straight out like that? Is kind of the better question. I'm trying to think here. And then if we Can we, like, I really don't like how it turns in like that. If we do something like that, could we, actually, can we square this up a little bit better? What I'm trying to do is make it more like a straight out, so if I maybe do something like this. Ooh, it's got a big dip there. I don't, Alright, once again, my train work is kind of coming back to bite me. But I think that might work. That should have plenty of capacity for the people who want to ride this ride. I think right here, what we can do is actually bring another like hidden cow pen in here, so we can kind of go down and kind of S-curve back through here. Let me just show you, because path is free here. It's not quite what I want. Do something like this. I'm just trying the angle off here, and let's try to line this up a little bit better. Something like this, and if I select this grid now, do a cattle pens kind of like this. And I might leave this here until I can get more of a foundation of what I want to do, like this. Let's see here, do something like this. This would be like middle of July kind of queue path, because it's so hot out, everyone wants to ride this ride. Something like that, and it would connect it up in there, maybe. I mean, I could even go as far as doing this. Hold on. Select grid for there. And going out one more time here. Like that. And then, so essentially you would come across, you come down the ramp here, turn right, or left, I'm sorry, enter the cattle pen, go through here, and then make a, and then just come straight out. That might work. So it's not going to be an official queue path, of course, but I think something like that would be rather nice. Let's see, how many cars do I have on here, first of all? Number one, we need more than one. That's preposterous. We do also need a area we could pull off carts. Because while I do want to make this as realistic as possible, I know it's not perfect. Maybe something like right here might work. So they can essentially, I'll put something like as like a wood, it looks like wood boards. Essentially, it'd be a gate that would swing open, and then so it would kind of come across here, and the water would flow over. Let's see here. That's 12. I think 12 would be a good amount, because people then can see these like right as they enter the ride. They can kind of see how it is, and then they get over top of this bridge and see how long the queue line really is. So yeah, I think we go ahead and, we can't ride it, or we can't, so let's test it real quick. Kind of let the water go there. There's something else I wanted to do though. Let me go over here, custom, and rapid ride. You might be thinking I'm crazy because I've already placed down the rapids ride. Well, there's a trick I kind of learned watching other people do this. If I do this, if I delete this section, nope, maybe not. Hold on, I gotta do it down here then. If I place down a rapids ride in this area here, because I want to make our like little maintenance area. So let me just put a standard track piece down there, and then we can delete this station. And now, got it here. Click on this and hit move. And this is a wider section of the rapids ride, so I'm gonna have to kind of be a little more strategic on how I place this. Ooh, I don't know. I might have to just switch it to a wide section. All right, hold on. Let me do that really quick. Let me edit this part here, and wide section end. There we go, that's what I wanted. And then I can get rid of this section here. Escape. Oh, that's too many escapes. Move this, please. We can move this down. Maybe. Now this doesn't want to cooperate with me now. There it goes. I mean, I could do something like this. Place it like... there. And then we want to edit the track again. And, hold on. Come on. Click. I want to add this in, please. Want to add it. Come on. There we go. For some reason it was not liking what I was doing there, so it's going to make a nice curve here. And then just bring it out back to the main course here. Just make it just a straight piece, and then slightly curve it in. Maybe even shorten it just a little bit if I can. I know, it looks like 12 is the shortest section I can make it, but that's okay. So what I'll have to do is just try to add a couple either rocks or maybe some water splashes. I can maybe do that to kind of hide that. The other one's hidden by the wall here. But now we actually do have a pull-off section here that we can pull things off. We can actually put like a crane, you know, maybe back here somewhere. We can actually pull it. Like, essentially the idea is you can either pull a truck or a tractor or something like that up here. To actually unload and load these things. So let's actually try to hide that first. I know we've got our queue line laid out and everything like that, so let's try to hide our mistake here. Something that Adam Savage says a lot. If you can hide your mistakes, it's always kind of for the best. So let's see here. Or he really didn't say that. Essentially, it's things like this where you kind of have to have this. If you can hide them, you know, and make something out of them, you know, it's always kind of nice. Let's see here. I want water, please. Some fountain splashes might work here. Which way is this kind of shaped? If I can do... and it's not going to be perfect, don't get me wrong. This is not like the end-all be-all of how to... you know, this one won't be looked exactly like... this isn't there, but... we got something like... maybe something like this. Maybe this is a part where we can enter a waterfall, maybe? And kind of make this like the tunnel here. So this will be, you know, enter a tunnel here, you exit here. We can actually put like a control station here for ride operators so they can make sure people aren't like trying to jump off the rafts or anything like that. And then hide this water, like you have to enter under a waterfall, which would be kind of neat. Let's kind of make this a little bit taller here. I think that might look, I mean, it won't be perfect, don't be wrong, but something like this, and then move one over like this. I hope I can pronounce your name. It's Pocust. Thank you for the follow there. I do appreciate it. Working on our River Rapids ride here in our next 80s section of the park. But I think something like this will, you know, kind of hiding this little pull-off trick. Is I I am terrible with names, so I am sorry if I say anything. Is it this just or they just? Either way, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Let's see here. The splash, huge. It's not really what I'm looking for here. I was kind of hoping for. Very nice. It seems like, funny enough, when I first started playing like Roller Coaster Tycoon and stuff like that, a lot of people from like the Netherlands and like Denmark and stuff like that have been watching my videos. Nothing wrong with it, but I just think that's hilarious. That it seems like the only thing I think is maybe it's the time of day. That's about the only thing I can think of that would be the reason why a lot of like European countries would be watching, but. It's great. Thanks for hanging out, though. I do appreciate it. I might just leave that for now, just kind of as an idea. I do want to get this ride open, just so that... connect entrance to path. Well, we did connect the entrance to the path. Oh, that's why. It's wrong Rapids ride. Let's open it up here. Because what we did was... we actually used this. We built a second raft ride to make this pull-off track. But I'm actually doing really well. Been kind of busy between just running errands and things like that. But glad I do try to stream 3 times a week, and so this is the first day of the week I do stream. Thankfully, I did have everything in order, so I didn't have to worry about missing a stream. That was always the nice thing. So yeah, I'm doing really well. It's actually, this is, I'm trying to think here. I think next week, it's in 9 days, so would be is it next Wednesday or next Thursday? Let me look at a calendar here. So, next Thursday, actually, it'll actually be 4 months of me streaming 3 days a week, so, or streaming at all. I actually started about 4 months ago. So yeah, that'd be kind of neat. I'm kind of looking forward to this. Oh, why do I have this down here? I think I accidentally clicked a couple times. So let's delete this back to where we want it. Maybe one more. Yeah, that'll work. And then we can... We want it there. Alright, that's where we want it to end. So I'll have to figure out a way to kind of hide this as well. Maybe some rock work or something like that. But, yeah. So far, I think this is a neat idea. I did want to work more on the station today because I had some ideas for it. But I did want to get this kind of basic layout done of the Rapids ride first. So let's go ahead and head over to here. Now, I did want to kind of cover up these holes here because they don't look really great, and to me, I think we can fix that. So let me go over here. I think there is some wood, like they use it for docks. I do remember that. Or the scaffolding here. I think we can kind of turn that into a covering for this hole here. I'm just trying to figure out what would be maybe the best way to do this. Thinking maybe something like this, if we can keep it at that height. Move it over to, looks like it's actually connected to the station here. Bring it down just a little bit. Do something like this. Maybe not all the way around, but I think this will work at least for the front part here. So let's go ahead and create a scenery group for these guys so that we can get our scenery going. Come on, there we go. Let's go ahead and just duplicate this on down here. I was kind of hoping to see more people around here. I haven't seen anybody come over to this ride yet, which, fair enough, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere right now. I mean, the closest thing is the go-kart track over here and Shockwave and those rides that I showed off in the first stream. Yeah, I don't know. I just figured there would be more people coming over here than that. So Let's see here. I think if I can put a 2x2 in here, it might look a little bit better. So I don't have that Z fighting going on. Oh, hold on. Do this. Make sure that turn. Well, why in the world is there a fence? And that's not what I wanted. Do that. Do this. Move it over. Turn it. It won't quite match up, but I think that's okay. Let's just move this to the. Let's just copy this whole thing here. Copy to the other side. But I've also noticed that this side actually isn't planked at all. You see how the other side, we got this nice, wood here. This is just a regular planko style of path. I know how to fix that. I just got to do that. But I don't know. I just now noticed it. So let's do this. Let's just copy this last section down here. Like that. Let's also get the path down for this side. Something like this. I'm trying to see what would look the best over here. Well, they're all diagonal. I don't want them diagonal. I want them just straight, please. That I think would look the best, just because it's got that faded look to it. So that gray, when wood ages, it comes like a grayish top color, and I think that's kind of what we're going to go for. Not because this is technically old, but technically it is an older station. If it was built in the 80s, if let's say it was built in 1985, that's when the first River Rapids rides came out. This would have right now we're 35 years old. So let's also lower the price to 0, since we're not really worried about money in this one. That should draw more people over here at least. Kind of the hope that is. Alright, so let's work on the station. So I don't really have an idea of how I want to do this yet. This is kind of be a generic theming for this ride, because none of my rides are very heavily themed. But hey, that's how a lot of my rides are. This park is not really a theme park, it's more of an amusement park. I think kind of like Cedar Fair, or something like that. They really don't have any IPs. They might have one for the Kittyland, and I haven't really thought of one yet, but we'll see about that. Let's see here. How do I want to do this now? Not really much in the way of wooden stuff here. So let's go look at. Oh, thanks for stopping by. Please come by anytime. I really do appreciate people just stopping by and saying hi. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to. What if I made this somewhat like a lodge, not like a ski lodge. I was thinking hunting lodge, but or a rafting lodge. What if we did something like that, where we had like a bunch of canoes and paddles laying around, and then this would kind of be like the main hall you would come into, and then I'm thinking maybe something like that. We leave it open though. I think that's kind of a big thing. Is if we leave it open, and people can still see inside of it, that will kind of work out the best. So let's do something like, let's see here. We'll mark off the platform. Let's do something like this. I think something like this will, if we kind of plant it in the ground just a little bit, and then also, well, raise it up just a little bit so we can have a little more of a building with it. I think that'll look kind of nice. Just that it looks like we have like a full platform, or a full like support structure for it. So let's edit this scenery. Oh, add that to the scenery group, and then continue to add it along here. I think if we this and this, copy it. Move it down this way. Like so. You know, I'm wondering here. Hold on. Let me see if... Is that what I'm thinking it is? I think it was. Hold on. Let me replay that real quick and make sure that it's working. Nope, it's not. Yeah, there it goes. For some reason, I thought I had that up and it didn't show up, and I was kind of curious why that didn't show up. Okay, there we go. You know what? Oh, that's not even right. The event log is not what I'm looking for. It is the... it's just Streamlabs. Okay, so it did show up. I don't know. I'm still working on stuff. I'm not perfect. I'll be honest. Let's see here. Let's put one right dead center of the station, so probably right in there. Then we can kind of start subdividing the station from there. Something like this, maybe. I know technically this is not the most structurally sound way of doing things, but it should work. Notice I did say should. I don't know if it will or not, but something like this, maybe. I think that'll work here, so let's go ahead and copy all of these over to the other side here, and that'll be kind of our main main supports for the station here. Come on, there we go. Let's copy these over to the platform edge here. Now I'm wondering if I should maybe copy those to the funny enough, it actually lines up pretty well, so I'm kind of happy about that. I'm wondering if I should actually move those over, or move those into a more central position over here as well. I'm not 100% sure if I should or not. So I'll leave it like that for now. Let's look at some fencing here. We could do some custom fencing. I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think more rustic. What would they do? And that's way too big for what I'm thinking here. Just something like that. Then what we could do is, so we have the top one here, which looks, you know, pretty nice. If we did something like this, hold on, and then like 15 down, and then let's edit this up just a little bit here, and 15 back this way. Maybe do like a wave pattern here. I don't know if that'll be perfect, but let's see how this looks here in just a moment. And then we do a 15 down. And then I don't know how we would finish that, because I don't quite think we can try it and try to do a 15 up again. I think that might stick through just a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, it will a little bit. What I can try to do, hold on. What it might be actually easier to do. Hold on, let's just move all these pieces out to a little more easier area to work with them on. Come on, last piece. There we go. So let's move them out to like this grass area here. Kind of the idea is I want to, you know, I don't mind having that top line being, you know, level. It should be. But this bottom one, I think we kind of need just to kind of do a little wave pattern. Which it might just leave it like that. To be honest with you, because, yeah, well, let's make it one more. I think that'll at least help a little bit. So like that. Now we can probably just copy this fence. Well, to copy them kind of individually because they won't fit exactly. They won't fit exactly with each other because the 4 meter, the 4 meter one now is actually shorter than the than this one over here. Something like this, and we're just going to continue this all the way down like this. Move it down just a little bit more. Probably do this in one more. Yeah, we'll need one more piece, but that's okay. Do this. There we go. So there's one side of the fence done. I want to see how this looks because I have no idea how this is going to look. But hey, if it works, great. If it doesn't, we just try something else until we find something we like. But we'll have to be a little more careful because this is a pattern. If we don't do this right, so let's do something like that, it won't connect properly. So let's move this over like so. And then as the rest of this in, we'll just keep moving on this way, see how this looks. What I also might do is actually make this part of the ceiling structure. So I'll have this down on this, kind of on the bottom here with the fence. And also we'll have it up here in the rafters to help hold the roof up instead of using a straight column, just something like this. I don't know, just trying something a little bit different here. It's going to cost me more pieces, of course, but that's okay with me. I don't mind doing that. I think it looks kind of nice. It's a little bit different than just having two straight posts there. So works for me. Let's try and moving all these up to or moving the hold on here. And then let's get rid of the post like this. Well, come on. The game is running a little bit slower, I will admit that, so it's not the best thing in the world, but it does still work. What if we did something like this? All the posts are still connected. Let's try making just a few more like this, and let's continue. That won't work. Do this. Up, down, up, down, up. So there's that. Let's do one more. Look at like chevrons. Let's do one more chevron down here. Like that. I don't know about this yet. Let's do our roof structure next. We'll do just kind of the old pole here. I think that'll work. Let's see here. Let's lay it flat first. And then maybe a 30 degree, we'll do a 30 degree roof. Although it doesn't really matter here what we do. I'm trying to think, what if we did something like this? Hold on. And then bring that up to here. I'm thinking what we do, instead of doing like one peak, we do a multi-peak here. And I'm kind of getting this idea from the Polynesian resort from Disney. It needs to be a little, like, it has to be more like this. Let's see what this would look like. Essentially, my idea is I want to do, come on, a double peaked structure here. that has the pylons kind of sticking out like this, where they're not exactly, they're not exactly in line with one another. They're kind of tied together. So let's try this. Something like so. And let's actually pause the game, because that might be some of our issue there. But you see what I mean, though? So let's actually get some rope here. Let's see how this looks. I have no idea if this is going to work or not, but we're going to give it a try. Let's get some rope. Rope. Do we have this one? Let's see how this looks. That is tiny. This, however, might work. So let's just line it up a little bit better. So can we align this to a surface? We can. Alright, so let's rotate this just a little bit. Kind of the idea is I want to make it look like it's, wrapped around both these logs and tied into one another. If we do something like this and then rotate it 90 degrees and then rotate it like so, can we make these things look like they're tied into one another? Maybe if we move the log out a bit more, like this. Could we make that work? It's kind of the other idea. Let's see here. Come on. I don't want to clone them. I want to move them. There we go. Will that work? I'm a little iffy on it. Move this one down a little bit more. What if I put a piece of wood in there? So, like, let's say I put in... Come on, game. What if I put... Scroll down a little bit more. What if I put a 4-meter column in here? Rotated. That'll work for right this second here. And then I rotate it kind of up like this. Kind of fit it in there. And then I have that piece of wood in there now. But do I like it? It's kind of the other things. Like, do I really like it like that? I mean, it's given that more of a rustic feel to it. Because if we continue this along, let's just try, like, let's see what it would look like another column down. Oh boy. This is going to be a fun one. Because these aren't quite lined up. It'd be somewhere. Let's actually do this first. Move this wood column down, and then we can use that to line up the rest of them. Or line up the next one at least. So we do something like this. Shoot, it's a little too far there. Gonna work this back and forth here. Something like that. I don't know about that. I mean, Is it neat? Yes, but I think we'd have to have at least 3 peaks in here unless we moved all these wood supports in. And I'm a little more worried though that this pole is a little too short, so we'd have to move them up too. So we have to move them up to about there maybe. A little lost right this second here. And I think I want to add, like, if I added more poles in here, because I don't quite think that would be, let's see here, if I do something like this. That might be a bit much. I'm a little lost right now. I thought I had an idea for this, and then as I'm starting to work on it a little bit more, it's starting to not quite come out as I thought it would. So let's try moving these in just a little bit. So let's do something like this. We'll get rid of all those, and we'll enter. We'll slide these over maybe to... We'll have to move them to the left a little more too, like right there, so they're not interfering with the lines or anything like that. I honestly have no idea what I'm gonna do from here. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I'm still a little lost. Boy, that looks like another Q line, which is kind of funny, but You know what? Let's not. Let's step away from this one. I'll leave it there. Maybe I'll come up with a different idea here shortly. But let's actually try to get the other rides at least placed in there. We'll get the queue lines in here, because a lot of this was kind of the second big ticket ride in here. Would have been the first one actually. Come to think about it, then Shockwave would have been. By the way, didn't really, when I looked these up, these were actually the aero corkscrew coasters, that kind of they call them, I think, hyper loopers, what they called them. There was like 4 or 5 of them like this. These didn't come into like the late 80s, and I think so. This one would probably been like 80, 88 or 89, and the Rapids ride had been 85. So kind of set up that timeline here. This area, the go-kart stuff like this would probably have been built in the early 80s. The bumper cars would already be, would have been here. Maybe they were moved from the boardwalk over to here, and then the 85 they would have built the Rapids ride, and then in 88, 89 they would have built the Shockwave here, and then they put the Discus ride here a lot later, probably mid 90s. I think that's when that was built. So yeah, let's get the other rides in, just so that we can say all the rides are in. We can place our entrances in here. We'll place the entrance for this ride here. Can we place the exit somewhere on this side? Or what in the world's that path doing? I think I want to put the exit... do I want to put it back out to the main path here? Yeah, I think I do. Since this is a smaller ride, I just kind of want to have the entrance here and the exit here. I'll put a little sign here for it, so that'll be really easy to do. Let's see here. What path do I want to use? What queue path did I covered up the queue path for the go-karts. Let's do a gray one. So I gotta imagine this was probably gonna be a cheap upgrade. And what I mean by that is that when they originally built this section of the park, it would have been as cheap as they could so that they can just get more rides in here. Kind of the idea. Not that it's terribly a bad thing, but if you look at like things like Cedar Fair or something like that, they use like these huge slabs of concrete for rides, and then that's just how they are. They just sit on concrete pads, and they're really warm usually. Even working there, I noticed, there's these huge swaths of concrete or pavement or something like that, and thankfully they've gotten a little bit better. but it's still not perfect. It still gets pretty warm sometimes, so something like that. And around. I think we can just connect it to the path after this turn here. So I think that'll look kind of nice. My other thing is, do I want to kind of go 80s when I do some of the theming here? Like they haven't changed it yet. Might work. So we'll open that one up, and we'll also turn the price down to 0. Try to hopefully get some more people over to this side of the park. This one, I actually, funny enough, I was looking on, I think it was Wikipedia. They actually had, this is where the timeline is kind of was looking at to see when certain rides came out. And this one almost, like, I think this was like the first or second thing on the page was this ride. I'm like, all right, I've got to include this one. I think they call this one Breakdance in the game or something like that. I don't know what they call it in just a normal park, but it's a neat ride. It looks interesting. I've never rode one like this, I'll be honest with you. Let's see here. They'd have to step up on these stairs here. So let's do something like this. We'll place the entrance there. Place the exit. It's kind of on the other side here. Can we not? Well, I can always do this and then delete the path and then do it how I want to. And it's a little bit better. I wanted it a little more straight out like that. And so let's build the queue path. We'll do another concrete swath. Like so. Also make the ground look concrete-ish. Something like this. We'll just bring it around. Now, kind of the thought in the kind of the whole story of this park is that these rides are not the most maybe interesting in the world, but they were cheap, or they were kind of the newest stuff that they could buy, and they were getting relatively good deals on them because a lot of these rides were not all of them were made by the same company, but it's like hey, I just bought this from one company, what can you offer me, kind of thing. So I think that's kind of how this would go. More building stuff like this in a park. I think we'll do one more path and we'll come back around. But I think this would be kind of one of the things where they went to like 5 different companies. Like, hey, we want rides. What can you offer us? And this is what they got. And maybe they kind of saved the Rapids ride. Like, hey, the company's like, hey, we're developing this. We don't quite know when we have this done, but maybe that was kind of their big teaser. They put like fences up and things like that around, just to kind of keep people guessing what it is until it was really open. I know, funny enough, I was at Silver Dollar City. It's a little amusement park just outside of Branson, Missouri. They actually announced they were putting a River Rapids ride in the day I was there, which I thought was kind of funny because they actually had fences up and they're like, ooh, you can peek inside and see what it is. And yeah, so I was actually in the park when they announced it, so that was pretty neat. Didn't plan on it or anything like that. It's the only time I've ever visited that place. It's a neat little park if you were to go. I don't like that hump there though, so let's try to fix that. I know we'll have to delete the path, but that's okay. Let's do something like this. That's gonna be free fun to connect, but we will do it. Something like this. Is that corrected? I mean, should be okay. I mean, it should be flat to where it won't buckle or anything like that anymore. It's going to have a little bit here. Let's try to actually get rid of the main path and see if maybe we can smooth this out a little bit better. Alright, let's try that. Number one, let's reconnect this first. There we go. And let's get back to the queue path here. I think this is where we did the turn at. make it a little bit smaller, because while this ride will probably be a little more popular, you know, it's still it's a flat ride. It's not going to garner as much attention as a roller coaster or something like a Rapids ride would. I don't want to have this as a corner here. I want it squared. Makes it a lot easier to do custom railing with. Select this grid. Oh, that's why I'm on the wrong type path here. Select this grid here, and then nope, dang it, will not let me put it there. So let me back all this up and connect. Oh, that's not what I wanted. It's not going to cooperate today, is it? Went a little tighter there. I'm okay with that. And then we'll just bring this one straight out. That'll work. So there is the queue line for this one. We'll open it up as well, so we have all of our rides operating. So there's 3 of our rides in. So we got 1 more to go as our drop tower over here. And then I think we can also work on this back area, just kind of bring it back up to here. This ride does not have the largest footprint in the world either, which is kind of nice. So we can kind of move it around just a little bit. I think I do want to at least keep it, if we can elevate it just a little bit. Get a little bit of a wall here. I'm okay with that. We can also put some bushes and things like that to hide that if we really want to. But I'm okay with where it's at. Let's see, we'll do an entrance here. Do an exit back here. Now this is more, I know this seems like more of a carnival style, like, size. It doesn't seem like this would be in a main park, but if the footprint was a little bit, you know, I don't mind it being that small because I can make it look larger, if that makes sense. Let's turn this down to 4 again. Let's make a ramp down. We can't connect it up. Alright, well this is the nice, ooh. Don't like how that goes there. Can we just wrap it around here? Length is only 1. Hold on here. Let's see. Can we, some luck here, bring this like that? Arm's starting a little numb from just sitting there. Maybe do something like this. Turn the angle off here. Just kind of bring it as close to the ride as we can. That's not what I quite wanted to do here. Get rid of this path now, so we have a nice smooth path over here. What if we just kind of turned it? So I really don't want to mess up that path there because I like how that, I like the red path there. Do something like that. Let's see how that looks. I think that'll work. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but ooh, it's a lot higher than it should be. All right, well, let's try this one more time because the path in this game is not the best in the world. I know, but if I can leave it like this, hold on. Shift, is it or control? It's control and then shift. It's a bit of a gap there. Hold on. It's not as easy as it looks. I don't know how the people have been doing this for ages. How they've, you know, how they learned to do this. It's crazy. But something like this maybe. All right. I'm just gonna leave a gap there. I'll concede that point, and I can hopefully then now wrap the this path into it. Ooh, it won't let me. Well, this isn't great. Let me try to redo this path here. That's as tight as I can get it, which still a little bit elevated, but I'm okay with it. It's a little less than it was before, so do something like, we could do something like that. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of that, but maybe something like that. It's way too much of an angle. I don't like it. That might be the best option I have, which isn't terrible. We can actually cover this up a little bit with just like either rock work or just some bushes. Like this will be kind of, we'll kind of curb this path along here, put some nice bushes and things like that around here. I think we'll be okay with that. Let's put the queue line in first, or the next. Do something like that. And we'll actually just kind of snake it along here. So now this one actually has a pretty decent capacity. So probably won't, I'll just keep going out, let's say. Since it has a pretty decent capacity, I'm not too concerned with having a long queue line, but something like this I think will work just fine here. Down like this, and then how do we want to bring this in? Maybe something like that. I want to redo this section here. There we go. Now, I know it's elevated just a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. Just for the fact that it'll, since it's all flat, we can actually easily get railing in here, and I'm okay with that. So let's go ahead and open everything up here. So now, there we go. Now everything should be operational, open, things like that. So more people should hopefully come over here to enjoy those rides. Kind of hoping to see if we can get some people on it real quick before we move on. So I'm still trying to come up with ideas because this is throwing me a curveball, and I don't know what to do, and it's a little frustrating, to be honest with you. Nobody wants to come over here, which is kind of sad. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to make some generic railings for this ride here. Let's look at really, I'm thinking of just putting just fence down. Nothing crazy. But hold on, let's see. Pause this really quick here. Can I put a square edge here? Yes, I can. All right, that's what I wanted to do. Just so it's a little bit easier on me. That's all I wanted. Let's look at iron. Maybe there's some iron fence. Not really what I'm thinking here. Let's see what we got here, though. I mean, we could just put this tall metal fence up. It might be a little too tall. I might want to use the other one here, just the regular metal fence here. I guess what we could do, place the railing down first, and then actually put in some like concrete slabs so you don't see this, and then make it look like it's not just a concrete slab, but it's got a little bit of paint to it. It's not perfect, but the park at least tries to keep it up, kind of idea. So let's do something like this. Just kind of work our way around here. Come on, game. I know leaving the game running technically is going to cause a little more lag issues than normal. But I kind of want to see people over here maybe a little more, but maybe that's just me. Let's go over to scenery here and get this last little piece. Let's see here. end one here. If I copy it, make it the small one, that'll look nice there. Let's see here. I can do the same on the other end, so let's just copy all this. Hold on. There we go. Exit first. Just copy this over to the other end. Like so. Then we will draw this out here. And we delete that part here. And we can actually move this. Oh, well, no, I won't move it over just a little bit. Just because I do want it to line up this way. So let's do this. Copy it. And let's move it this way. We'll just get the inner queue thing going here. But it's nice to see actually people are starting to ride these rides. So that's what I was not really afraid of. I knew people would start riding them, but it seemed like it's just taking forever to people to start riding these rides, though. Let's copy this. Put it right in the middle of the path here. I think that'll look best. Just maybe something like... What I need to do is actually probably... Oh, come on. If I move this one, add a single piece in here, I think that'll look a little bit better. Right there. And then delete this last one, so we just have a little small part sticking out there. Let's copy the rest of this. Let's copy it straight down first. Like that. And then move, come on. Move this over to here. And over to there. Oh, need to move it just a little bit more. Like so. And once it's covered up by concrete, you won't actually see the path, hopefully. That's kind of the goal, at least. It looks like people are now riding this ride, which is pretty cool. Breakdance is starting to get a few people. River Rapids, still rather empty. Same with Gravitron. So, I don't know if it's just people don't want to come back here or what. But, you know. Oh, well. Did just break over 5,000 people in the park, which is quite a bit of people. I mean, not for a real park, but, in-game, it's quite a few people. Come on, game. There we go. Auto-saving. Kind of worries me sometimes that the game's crashed. But, happens. Come on. Let me back in my scenery here. Alright, there's something, I think there's something called, I think it's called Curb, K-E-R-B. That would work here. Yes. If I align this to this surface, though, and rotate it down, we'll have the same angle, which is what I'm kind of going for here. I wonder, can I do... Oh, let me look here. Because there's a bigger curb on it, so it looks like they might sink through just a little bit. Can we do... We cannot. Alright, well... We'll just have to edit it from here. Oh, hold on. Let's move it. I don't want to move it. Edit first. Then let's move this over. Come on, game. I may have to start building a couple things outside the park and moving them in, which I have done a couple of times, so it's not a huge deal. But I don't think it's going to fit there because of, yeah, it slopes before it's really got there. All right, well, we'll have to do a little bit more of a custom idea there. More custom curbing, which is okay. It's no big deal. Something like this. And over like... I want this to stick out farther than the path does. So something like that. Now we need to collect all this curb here. Come on. Come on, game. I want that piece of curb. Because if I'm hitting the right button, it actually might help. Thought I collected more than just the curb there, but that's okay. Come back through here. I wonder, what would it look like if I just did something like this? I'm looking here, and this guy's foot is pretty much being eaten by the curb. Alrighty, if you're still with me, I think you are. Fingers crossed. It looks like my internet just cut out for a minute, and for some reason, not sure why. But it seems like we're back up now. I'm not sure exactly where it cut out at. But we are back here. Essentially, I was placing curb and kind of complaining about the game a little bit. Not like it's bad. Like I think it's just my computer having issues. I think it was trying to reconnect and things like that. So let's see here. Let me double check here, make sure I'm still online on Twitch here. So it says I'm online. I'm seeing new stuff, so that's a good thing. I think my dad just texted me and said it crashed on us. I think it was our internet just crashed. So, hopefully, Dad, if you're still watching this, it's up now. But it's always nice to have people like that to look out for you. Let's see here. That's a 4x4, so that won't work. This might. If I do something like this, if I turn this to like a nice gray, I think that'll kind of blend in with the rest of it. Looks like it's back up now. So, I think we're okay now. I think internet's cut out for a brief moment and then came back. So, not 100% sure why. Just be an internet issue. I know. I don't technically work in IT yet. That's kind of my goal right now is try to find a job in IT. But I know something like that. It's like you're worrying about outside internet access, and I can't control that, unfortunately. So, what I can control is how we're doing in this park, and it's okay. It's not great right this second here. Now, we're doing kind of just some generic stuff, just kind of cleaning, or getting rides in, making the path look nice, things like that. My dad keeps texting me, which I need to turn on, like, a really silent, or, because the vibrations of it is, I don't know if it's coming through the mic or not, but they're kind of loud. But I'll figure something out. He suggested the name of the raft ride should be Thunder Falls, which is a great name, and I kind of like it. Which Thunder Falls, it's not the one, because where I used to work at, and he actually, funny enough, my dad used to work there too, in the late 80s, early 90s. The one there is called, shoot. I don't remember what that. Hold on one second, guys. Let me actually Let me do something here. Let me pause. The game is paused. Let me pull up S6 here. Let me find out the name of this ride real quick. So I know you guys have seen this in the background quite a few times. Let me actually pull this up here. This is actually a pin collection I have been working on for a couple of years now, and let me actually get this kind of rotate it around just a bit. Up here in the top corner, which is a little hard to see on camera, I'm trying to get it a little more centered. There I am. So right here, you can kind of see. Well, let me zoom in a little bit, see if I can. It's a little hard because this is a pretty bulky idea here. Configure video. See if I can zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see it just a little bit better. This isn't the best zoom in the world, but that's not. I know it's a digital zoom, so it's not going to be the best in the world, but you know what? I can probably take this pin off this board. Come to think about it. That's a lot easier to do, by the way. Let's see here. So, this is the one that I can't remember the name too. It was actually the thing's called Whitewater Canyon. So if you look here, get the pin up to it. And this one actually does have a little dangling river raft right underneath it. This is the one I used to see quite a bit, and I've rode it quite a few times. So that's kind of the one. That's where kind of the idea came from to do this raft ride. Let me put this back real quick. If I can find where I put it at. But yeah, no, that was the original idea for this raft ride, was to do something along the lines of, you know, it didn't just fall over. But no, it kind of did the idea of to do something along those lines of doing a ride like that. So, if I'm not mistaken, so Whitewater Canyon is the one. There was one called Congo Falls, also at Kings Island. It's more of a keelboat ride. That it was just a wide boat that you just sat in. There was no lap bar or anything like that, and you went down a big jump or big drop. But Thunder Falls is not a bad one, especially if we did the waterfalls there. If we did some nice, like a 2-tiered waterfall, might be kind of cool. So yeah, I'm okay with that. So I think here, what I think we also should do is maybe lay the path out this way. I don't know. It's kind of one of the things where I had an idea, the idea didn't work, and it's like, great, what do I do now? This is still bugging me, and I don't know why. Because I'm trying to think how, like, Whitewater Canyon did theirs. Whitewater Canyon technically is just a bunch of wood. That's all it is. And there's no, I mean, there's a little bit of rhyme or reason to it. There's some rope, there's some wood. It's really just kind of generic rustic. It's almost kind of the idea there, so. Let's actually try this. I don't know how well this is going to work. Because remember, it's landscaping is, or not landscaping, terrain work is not my best work. I do something like this and then kind of flatten it out, pull some from up here to make a tunnel. That's kind of the idea, is we want to, if I do this, if I push, let's pull a little more out, because if I don't, this will all just kind of fall apart. But if I push kind of this out of the way here, I know I can turn the intensity down, but I kind of want to leave it just a little bit high. Let's get the game running again to have a boat hopefully come. Yeah, there's one at just the top of the hill here now. So if we can get one over here to see where exactly it goes. think that we can kind of see how much more we need to push or pull it out, or how far we can kind of maneuver it. Oh, we got plenty of room still. Width-wise, I wasn't too concerned about it, but yeah, height. We can just pause it here. Height, I'm not. I thought it would be a little closer than it is, but no, it's that'll work perfectly. And I think what we'll do is we'll make it look like that. This area here is kind of like it's. Maybe we got a log jam here. I think that might be kind of cool. We're just gonna maybe a little much. Maybe a little much. Maybe it looks like there's a log jam here, and it pushes you under the waterfall. And then when we want to do, like when they want to do maintenance on boats or something like that, we can actually unjam it and pull it back here. That might work. I think that'll work. I mean, I think it'll work for what we're doing. Let's see here. Let's flatten it to maybe there. I want to do another waterfall area here, so something like this though. We can bring more waterfall elements here. Itch on top of my head here. Don't want it to align to surface, but have this play a little bit so that it we're going to do something like this. And then move one. Let's rotate this up just a little bit here. And maybe turn it a little bit as well. Thinking, hold on, maybe if I multi-select here, if I move these back just a little bit, not a whole lot, but I do want to move them back just a little bit here. Make them look like they're kind of cascading over those rocks, or this rocky area here. You know what? Let's get rid of this one because it's at an angle and it's been driving me crazy. Let's duplicate this one, and let's rotate it so we have a nice wider waterfall here. If we put some mist and smoke in here, that'll kind of make it look like that. My dad's making me laugh, and I think it's hilarious. Because he reminded me of a story. So, I think I've said this before on the stream, but I've been to Disney 23 times now, 22 times, something like that. I've been there a lot, over 20 times, and we were down there, and this has been a little while ago, and I remember it's I don't know how many years it's been, but we were down there. We were at Animal Kingdom, and someone had suggested that we go ride Kali River Rapids because nobody had ever rode it before. I think the one time we had tried to, there was a lightning storm came up and they closed the ride. Fair, safety, So we decided, we're going to ride this thing, and then we're going to get off of it. We're going to go right to dinner. Fair enough. And they said you could get wet on this ride. Okay, fair enough. It's a water ride. What do you expect? But the problem is that When they said you may get wet, it is more like you will get wet and you might get soaked, which is also what they say on the rides too. And that's kind of what happened to us, is we got completely drenched on that ride. I mean, it was to the point where, you know how like if you ride one of these rides, if you're at the very front of the boat when it hits the splash, like the bottom of the hill, and that huge wave's coming over top of us, that essentially was what happened to us. We got drenched, and I remember we had to run back to our hotel because we had like dinner reservations at one of the restaurants there, and it was at a hotel though, so it wasn't at our hotel. But I do remember we had to run back to our hotel, change out of our sopping wet clothes. We had to ride the bus. I remember we had to ride the bus back to our hotel to change clothes so we can just go to dinner. That was a fun time. All right, I like the mist. Could be a little bit better. That's kind of what the mist we're working with, though. If we push this, let's turn the intensity down just a little bit. I want to push this leading edge here back just a little bit. And it's going to expose those things for the smoke, but I can cover that up a little bit better with some actual, like, just rocks. Nature. Let's do... I don't think alpine rocks are what I'm looking for here. Maybe some delicious rocks. Something like this. Yeah, I think that'll look a little bit better here. And we can cover these up so that you don't see them. And the groundwork is still there. And you can kind of still see... you can still see the water coming over them. That's kind of what I wanted to do. Something like that, maybe. Let's do some more rock work, just kind of along here. Something like this. And then hopefully this will kind of blend in a little bit better with the rock around it. It's kind of the hope I've got right now, is that we can maybe even cover some of these sides with rock so that you don't see kind of where you're going yet. That's kind of the idea I want to see. Like, it looks like you're coming down through here. We got this huge waterfall, which granted is not great yet, but we got this big waterfall here that it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go right past it, and then I want to have a big log jam here, and then that's when you actually turn into the waterfall, which we kind of need to see. You know what I could do, and I don't know how I would quite do it yet, because if I'm not mistaken, you actually can turn on and off the waterfall. And if we can do that right as the ride passes underneath it, we just tell it to stop for like 5 seconds. So you don't get totally soaked on it, but, let's see here. Are these triggerable is the other question. They are. If I just turn this to stationary. Hold on here. If we play if we activate it on trigger, see how long does that last though? Like, if hold on, let's try something. If we activate this on a trigger from the ride, let's say, hold on, just to help save water too, let's see, operations, no, triggers. Make a trigger sequence. Let's say it activates here. So it looks like, oh, that's not where I want it. It looks like the waterfall is going the entire time, when in reality, the boat actually triggers it to turn itself on. Let's do this. Add oh, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Delete this one, please. Thank you. Connect objects to trigger. Confirm. And I don't know if this is play for 5 seconds or what. You can see, looks like they'll, let's actually bump this up to 20 seconds here. Because hopefully by, this time you'll see water pouring. Right as you get up to it, bam, it stops. There we go. Let's try it. Let's see if a boat will come underneath it. None of them has left the station yet. Can we turn this up to a boat will dispatch like every 30 seconds? We can. 30 seconds. Any load. Oh, cool. We get actually one on top of the falls now. So let's see here. It should trigger. You'll see the waterfall start up again. Maybe start up again. Ah, there we go. See the water's cascading down and then stops. Technically, it's a little short there. So I want to like have riders come around that corner, see the waterfall, and then see it stop. Maybe let's make it maybe 23 seconds, maybe. 23 seconds. See if that works. The boat just left the station, so we'll see how this goes. Fair enough, I can also just move the trigger closer, but, you know. Maybe there also is a way you can kind of do the inverse of it. So it's like looping, and then as it triggers it, it stops it for a second. Water's going now. Alright, let's add about 11 seconds to this, so 34. Let's try that. See how that goes first. Alright, so we're floating down here. Boom, the water activates. It shuts off a little too early. Let's move the trigger just a little bit closer. See how this goes. And then let's see here. Well, one was activated. Don't know why. Oh, there's the other one. One turn came on too early. The one came on right as the car passed underneath it. So that's not quite what I want. Let's try this again here. So we got the rough rapids coming through here. Come on. We gotta be getting close to this. The magic spot. Boom, water turns on. Only half of it turns on, though. And right as it ends, they slide underneath it. And the other one turns on. What in the world? What? Alright, hold on. What do I have wrong here? Alright, let's see here. This one. So this one's activated. Ah, hold on. What am I doing? I can do this. See, I figured there was a way I could do this. So activate on trigger. So it'll activate on trigger, please. And then once it gets, so we'll activate it here. And then we'll add another trigger. here, and we'll do the same ones. Connect objects to here, there, and there. Confirm. And this made this a lot easier now. And then deactivate. Now, let's see if this works better. I don't know if it will or not, but we'll see. So we got a boat floating down the river here. Boom, both activate. So now, oh no, they're going to get drenched. What's going? Oh man, that's a... And right as they enter, boom, that one turns off. That's how it should be. I think I might have these set up not quite exactly how I wanted them, but this we can edit this though. Let's see. It's probably just a setting I have on in here. Activate on trigger. Both are activated on trigger. I'm wondering why that's not quite in sync though, because everything should be fine. Edit trigger sequence. The only thing I can think of is maybe it's hitting one before it hits the other one. Which I don't think... See, both turn on there, right? Trigger spot number 1. And then one shuts off for some reason. Do I have this set up kind of odd? That's why. Activate on trigger. There we go. So I set both of them to. Now let's see if this works a little bit better. I didn't even see if it worked on the second, like the second trigger there. And we hit the activate trigger there, so both turn on. Gushing water out. And as it hits the second... Oh, it's going to hit them a little bit. And it turns off. Alright, let's bump that up just a little bit more so that they don't get too soaked. So they splash down. They're coming down through here. Floating along. Boom. Activates the trigger. They're floating along. They're about to get wet. The whole boat's trembling, and it shuts off, and they glide through. That's kind of how I want it. I want to move it up just a little bit. And I want to move this up quite a bit more. There we go. Done. And so now, if we watch the next one come down, well, this is the final one we'll watch until we get the. We'll start working on the log jam then. Water activates. One only activates. And on the second trigger, it turns off. Alright, cool. Edit trigger sequence. Let's see what I did wrong, because I did something. Move this back a little bit here. This one should be activate on trigger. I don't know why it didn't save that. And then this one's activate on trigger. These are deactivate and deactivate. Done. Let's see if this works again. Both are splashing. They're splashing. Cool. Looks like it's both of them are working now. So as they glide through, it turns off. Great. That actually is a lot better than I thought it would be. So alright, so let's work on this log jam here. Now I do want the log jam here to kind of block this curb here, so you really don't see exactly what's going on. So you'll have to see the back area here. It's kind of the idea. So let's go over to here. Let's go to log. See if there actually is any logs. Nope. Alright, so when you go to wood. See, this would be a kind of a cool point if we could actually have, like, just models of the ride vehicles that that we could just place down. I would put one jammed up in the logs. I think it'd be kind of funny just to see, you know, see that. Let's see here. There's the poles I was looking for. So now I just want to make a, see if I can make a quick building group out of this, because I want to make this one big building, it looks like. Let's see here. Actually, let's form the gate first. To make it look like, I mean, it's going to be functional. This is not just going to be for show, so. Let's see here, like this. And we'll add both of these to a scenery group real quick. Add, and we'll edit these. Essentially, the idea is at each point of this, I'll show you kind of what I'm thinking here, how this gate would work. And so every point that these logs kind of intersect and turn like this, each one of those would have like a hinge on it, so that it would kind of, hold on, let me put they should be only like 2 or 3 hinge points, and I'll show you what I mean by here in a second. So like here, so essentially each one of these points would be a hinge that would, like, so it's, so like if it's curved like this, let me pump the main camera here. So if it's curved like this, and like each one of these are just logs, it would, as it would open, it would just kind of straighten out, and so it would kind of be, you know, it would line up against the wall here, and so it could allow boats in, and then when it's done, they can just kind of push this back out. So next thing I think we need to do is a rail of some sort. So that's, I think, how I would, you know, would think that they would do it. There would be just a pole here that this would slide along. So do something like this. Let's go to rail. I think the 4 meter we can use. We sure can. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to just put it like, you know, let's start with this one, because I think this will be the easiest one. So it just becomes straight out to here. And then the next one would slide something along here. So it's underneath the, yeah, it is a little bit underneath here, so I want to raise this up just a little bit so we can see it. And then something like this, and bring this across like there. And then we need something to connect these up with. I think if we use the road poles that we've been using for a little bit, or a couple different things, I think those will work out just fine. Let's paint them like a brown, like a nice, you know, orange, maybe brown color, so that they blend in a little bit better with kind of these logs here. Something like this. And then bring this across to here, and then bring this down. So you can kind of see how the idea that I have is kind of how it would work. These poles would just slide across these rails here to actually allow that gate to open up. I do think I do need to move this rail back a little bit. I do, just a tiny bit. Something to like there. Oh, well, maybe. The water is messing me up just a little bit. which is fine. It's what it's supposed to do. It's you know, distorts the image so that it makes it look a little more realistic. And we need to add one more in here. Like that. And so now we can work on our log jam, and we know that if we can build on top of here, as long as we don't, technically interfere with the hinges here, we can actually have a smooth, a gate that opens up, and then we can kind of hide it as well. So it's kind of the idea. Whether it'll work or not, we'll see. But let's see. How do we want to start this? I think I was going ahead and just start essentially just piling up logs here like it would, being a log jam. So where's this pole? There's the poles. So let's just line them up to here. And honestly, I have no idea how these. I mean, I've seen them before, so it's not like I don't know what a log jam is, but like how to create one to make it look somewhat realistic. Yeah, I have no idea. So maybe something like this. Just kind of leave some in the water here. Once again, this doesn't have to be perfect. This isn't like a high budget park. Now, if it was Disney, they would actually, engineer somehow figure out how to engineer a log jam and then figure out how to move it every time they need to. I don't know. Let's see here. If we do something like maybe if we wedge this one into the rock, we can make it look like it's jammed up against this wall here and against the land on the other side. Like so. All right, I'm starting to see it come together a little bit. We need to have a couple that come like they'll look like they're leaning out towards the boat. I think that'll maybe add a little more suspense to it. Yeah, I'm starting to like how this looks now. I finally got I finally got the idea back in my head, so I think we're on the right track now. So let's do something like this. Maybe bring one. Let's do it like this. We'll kind of bring it in between the actual track and the that log there. And yeah, you kind of can still see the bottom of the wood and see that, yeah, this is not actually a log jam. But it's not really kind of the point. The point is you wanted a little bit of scenery with it, and this makes the most sense. We can actually have just a few logs that are just floating still. That looks like maybe they're not quite piled up, but they are stuck because they have nowhere else to go. Something like this, maybe. We can also make it part of the security of the ride that it helps keep the the pontoons on track. We can kind of, you know what? Let's pause this right here. I just want to get an idea where I can put logs at kind of on this side so that technically they wouldn't interfere with the boats, but they can make it look like they're just kind of skirting the outside of the log jam here. This is getting a little close, but I think we're still okay there. So let's just kind of jam a few in here. How about right in here? Maybe one that's wedged a little bit up like so. Alright, this is starting to look a little bit better than I thought it would. Let's rotate this kind of like so. Wedge this in a little bit more like this. And you can kind of see how I did like a buffer here. Technically, this buffer is not a real thing. I mean, the boats kind of wander as they please, but since they kind of push themselves to that side, we can kind of make it look like this is part of the ride, when in actuality it's just some scenery. So let's jam a log up this way. So we'll watch as the thing goes by and see how close it gets. Alright, that looks really nice. Alright, I'm getting happy about this now. Need to add a few more logs in, though, because there is some open areas. I don't quite think... I mean, when I think of log jam, this is pretty well jam-packed. But I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be this packed. But hey, maybe that's just me. Technically, these will all be like interconnected either via rope or like some metal pole or something like that you couldn't see. In theory, these do all need to connect somehow, but do something like this maybe. Wedge one right there. And something like this. Alright, I think that's good enough. It gives the idea that, yes, there is a log jam here and there's no way you can get through. So you're going to turn underneath the waterfall here. I think that works a little bit better. So, alright, so let's add some just some trees on this side, because I want to leave this area kind of covered up a little bit, because I want to have the kind of the backstage area here. Right here, I think we can kind of cover this up with just some rocks, because I think we're going to have the end of the tunnel here, so that we can kind of cover up this spot here too. And I think this will give, we can add in a little bit more, some detail around here and things like that. So, trees. What kind of trees do we got? How about an oak tree? I know the oak trees are pretty big in this game, so let's see if we can maybe cover up a little bit more with just one tree or two. It's also rotated like it's been sliding on this hill a little bit. I do want to I'll also add some bushes and things like that, so it doesn't look like it's out of place, but like this is more of a out of the way kind of area that you wouldn't normally go down into. Let's see here. Maybe if we align this to surface, we can get a few interesting angles with the bushes here. But I also want to leave this open here, because technically we would have to come down here and do maintenance on the gate, as well as open the gate when they want to do maintenance. So I need to leave a little bit of open area here. So I'm thinking if we, hold on, we add that bush in here, and I want to move it down just a little bit. Maybe back into the hill just slightly. I'm leaving a little bit of a path here, and I think we're going to paint it real quick, just so that so that we know it's supposed to be a path back here. This was kind of how the employees would get back here. They would be, they would probably come from a different area of the park. Honestly, the idea is if there is a control station we're going to put in this little bend here, maybe they have a little bit of a bridge that they can cross somewhere here. We'll have to build one, but that shouldn't be too big of an issue. Yeah, this might be the path they use to actually start maintenance with, and they have to walk down here. I know it's on the side of a cliff here, so let's flatten it just a little bit. Not a huge path, maybe just a 2 meter wide. I mean, in theory, they wouldn't have to do this too often. At the beginning of the season, maybe, to actually get the boats from storage out onto the track. If one boat somehow breaks, they would have to take it off, of course, but they probably wouldn't have to do this too very often, so. Terrain, paint. And there we go. Yeah, I think it looks rather nice. And we got our log jam up. We have a reason for it to be there, so I like it. I know this part's still sticking up and not the ideal thing to do, but really can't do much with it, unfortunately. Because like with other rides, we can... let's see, rocks here. With other rides, we actually can... there's no, like, into it. Like if you look at Shockwave, its transfer tracks don't have like a cap on them, so it makes it a little bit easier to do maintenance areas with them. But I think it still works. But I still do wish I could have just mesh models, like Theme Maker's Toolkit models for some of these rides, which I think that would be fantastic. Come on, game saving. Oh, there it is. All right. All right, so I just had an idea. So I know we're not a theme park technically, but there is themed rides in amusement parks. If you look at Kings Island, Mystic Timbers is a good example. They have an old lumber mill there that kind of got taken over by this spirit, and they run the coaster through it, and you're actually riding in one of the old trucks. Which, by the way, if you ever watch the promotional videos for that, there's like a truck that's driving along that drops wood off the back. That is actually one of the food service trucks that we used to drive around in the back areas and deliver food with. I never drove one. I've ridden one once or twice, but yeah, that was actually a food service truck. Why that's interesting, I have no idea. I always thought it was kind of funny. I'm like, they make it look like, I mean, the one they have there, it's like an old GMC truck, I think it is. It looks really nice. But the one they actually used for the promotional video is just an old, I think it's like a Chevy S10 with a flatbed on the back, which I think is hilarious. But yeah, I think this scene's coming together a little bit better than I thought. But here's my idea, though. So we're calling this Thunder Falls. I think I like that name, stuff like that. What if we made the station look like an adventures post, or like a headquarters of a travel agency that's like Thunder Falls, Thunderfall guided tours would be something like that. And technically, instead of getting into a raft or like a canoe, you're getting onto a highly advanced exploration tool that can seat up to, how many is it? 6, 8, up to 12 people. That might be kind of an interesting idea, a different story. You know, actually giving it some story behind it then. So, I kind of like that. I think it works well, and I think we can easily do that. Now, how do we make the company look? I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, let's go ahead and name this Thunder Falls, because I will forget the name. And we'll name this Thunder Falls Transfer Track, or Maintenance Track. Falls Main Track. And then this will technically become Thunder Falls then. I like that idea. Maybe if we can get some sound that's just like roaring thunder falls, or roaring waterfalls, might pump that into here, just to add just a little bit to it. Yeah, I think that's how we're going to do it. That's one of the ideas. Excuse me. That's one of the reasons that I'm like, all right, if I get stuck on something, I just gotta go away, and something will pop in my head. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. That's essentially what's going to. That's how my creative process works a lot of the times. Is that great? I'll have an idea, and then I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. But if we did try something else, or if I just go away, work on something else, and then come back, it's like, oh, I have an idea now. So, if I'm thinking Thunder Falls, I'm not. It's more that to me says like Amazon or something like that. But I'm thinking more like if we did something. I'm looking. I want to keep this. I like how this looks. But what if we did something like? The game. I think it's called Adobe. I'm pretty sure they made like different softwares here. If we did something like this though, and well, it's not going to let me do this. Come on. This is what I'm thinking here. What if we maybe did something like a Southwest style of ride, where we did, if we place this like there, and place that down, there really is no arches, is there? So we can do something like this. I mean, we could do something like this. I like how that looks, but I don't quite think... What other wall patterns can we get? Let me just take a look here. I'm out of tea now. Well, that's okay. Only about a half hour left of the stream, so... I can make it till then. I don't think a crypt would be... quite what we're looking for here. It's Firehouse, that's the Ghostbusters set. I don't quite think that's what we're looking for here. Not the gingerbread one, unfortunately. Let's see here. Maybe the lime plaster? Let's try that. Let's see how this looks here. Maybe not. Alright, well, let's keep on moving here. That's metal alloy. Ooh. I don't see anything. I'm getting some reports that the feed is frozen. Don't see anything that's frozen on my end. Maybe the Xbox froze again. Cause my dad watches this on my Xbox upstairs because he's can't really get downstairs right this second, but probably can see if their internet's gone out again. It would kind of stink if it did. Here, you know what? I'm gonna run to use the restroom really quick. We're gonna try to figure this out. We're gonna try to at least get an idea for Thunderfall Station done before we end the stream. But let me be right back. I'm gonna run to use the restroom, and we'll finish up. It'll be about another half hour or so, and then we'll call it a stream. So I'll see you guys then. Alrighty, everybody. I am back. Also went upstairs and double check to make sure everything was working okay upstairs. It looks like it is now. But while I was away, I'm thinking that maybe these temple pieces might actually work for us. We used them as concrete before. I actually want to use them as temple pieces now. Funny, well, not like temple pieces, but kind of that look to it. This is what I'm thinking here. Hold on. I'm going to slide this over here. If we did something like this, maybe. Hold on, let's back it up just a little bit here. I kind of like that. It's, we can put like windows and stuff like that in it too. Let's see here. Do something like this. It's a little bit bigger piece than I was hoping. Alright, why can't I just do this? Cut it down to about there. I'm trying to add a window in here. Just kind of see if we can even do this. And I'd rather have the inside or outside look better than the outside. Or the outside look better than the inside. Is that what I said? I said something like that, but do this. Rotate it like this. Kind of the idea is I want to, don't want it to make it look too odd from the outside. The inside I can kind of fix and put scenery and stuff like that in it. If I do something like this, that could be a very big window, to be honest with you. There's something smaller can we use? A 4x4 block. It's not quite what I'm looking for here. Might be able to use art shapes too to cover that up. Just to give it a little more, a little more definition or something like that. But I think we can work with this, because I think number one, I think that's kind of the style I was kind of going for, and number two, since these are actually free moving pieces, we can move them anywhere we want to, and so I'm okay with that. So I'm trying to come up with a story in my head of what this would be, and I'm thinking that, kind of out western more. I'm thinking like Arizona, Colorado, places like that where it's a little more rough out there, rapids wise. There would be a place that you could go and like say, hey, I want to take a tour of these falls here. Instead of just driving you out there and letting you look, they actually take you on a boat to get as close as you can. Kind of like how they do like with Maiden of the Mist, if you ever go to like Niagara Falls. Kind of like that idea, but they do this, they have this very clever idea. They're going to invent this raft ride. You can go right up to the falls and you can see them and things like that. And I think that's how we're going to kind of sell it as, I guess. And so I think it's going to be kind of our running story right now. So we got to think, expedition, kind of like a Jungle Cruise, I guess you could think of it like that. Yeah, I'm thinking more like Jungle Cruise mixed with Kilimanjaro Safaris kind of ride, or Kali River Rapids, if you really think about it like that, because I mean that's what it is. I mean, so yeah, I think this will be a good running idea for now. and maybe they make their headquarters look like an old, like, Inca temple or like an old ruined temple that they can operate out of. Might work pretty well for us. I think it will. So let's see here. Do something like this. Kind of just making this look like an outpost. Although I have an idea for a all right, hold on. So this is going to probably be next stream that we're going to really work on this station. We have a good idea, and I like it. I had an idea for a merchandise store just outside of it, and I really want to do that because I think we can finish that in the 20 or so minutes we have left. So put this on hold. I like the idea. Let's do this. I'll tell you right now, I've seen this before. Other people do this, and I love the idea. It's going to take a little bit of work to get this right. But let's see here. I need the truck first. That's what I'm looking for. So yeah, I'm going to make a store. I think I'm going to put it right in here, maybe. Maybe right there. I'll put this, old safari truck looks like. Let's see, position snap. There we go. Put these on the rear here. Now, I actually want to make this a functioning store, so I do want to put a shop down really quick. Let's see, custom. Let's see here. I want to do gifts. Just a memento. I think that'll be kind of the best one we have going for us here. Let's see here. I don't want it to be off the ground at all, so kind of like this. Hold on. How far can I go? Can I go? I can't go right there. Why not? Terrain too uneven for path. I'm not putting a path down. I'm putting a store down here. Hold on. Let's move the truck first. Let's get the store put down. Then we'll move the truck, and I'll kind of show you my idea. Shops. All right, so just a memento. Now, truck. Let's move this over to here. Really need to rotate the store one more time. Hold on. Up and move, please. I really need it there. Let's get rid of the path here. And we'll go ahead and move this one more time here. Move, rotate it one more notch here. Place it there. That might work. Maybe not. What if we rotate this one more time here? If you can kind of see what I'm going for here, you can kind of work it out then. But essentially what I wanted to do, it looked like I want it to look like that there's a seller here that is just is selling stuff off the back of his truck, essentially. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Rotate it one more time here. If I can get it to where it looks like the rear fender is actually the countertop, that would be even better. Like that. Now, it looks, that doesn't look great right this second here, but let's see if we can actually move this down anymore. Well, I really don't want to move it down. Maybe right there. Because remember, I gotta fill this top area now. Now, if I open the store up so it'll actually open up like that. Now, let's see if we can actually... Essentially, we gotta hide this building now. And, it shouldn't be too awful hard. I wanted to see, number one, how this looked on the back of this thing first. Not great. What about the bed itself? I guess not. Alright, so... see if we can get... First of all, I want to do it like a... You know what? Let me actually see if I still have the one I'm thinking of. Because I did I still might, and it's been a while since I've used it, so let me double check here. Aha, hold on. You can kind of see where I'm going for on this one. Ah, that would be more... I swear he used the canopy somehow. That makes more sense. Okay. I got my... I'm still... just kind of processing it just a minute. So let's jump back into here. Let's do that. Add to a scenery section. Edit. So we will do something like that. You kind of see where I got the idea from. So let's add the bed to the truck. Let's see here, truck. Let's add the flatbed and the canopy top to it. Please snap to it. There we go. And if we did something like this, and we need to move the truck out just a little bit, not a whole lot, but crap, what did I do? Oh, it's a part of the building. Okay, I'm okay with that, but I do need to move the truck out just a little bit more, just so that just a little. I mean, just so that the building doesn't stick through the canopy top there. There we go. Probably should actually move this. So do I move the truck down or the shop up? Because I don't want it to poke through like that. See if I can raise it just enough. There we go. I think I'm okay with that. Alright, so I want to put a canopy on here. So let's start with that first. Kind of just as an overhang, kind of looks like it was kind of like how a camper would have one. Just kind of pops out the side. Let's see if I can find one. I like this one. Might be a bit big for us, though. Is there a way we can make it work, though? Because I really... Oh, no, because it's... However, I think we can do this, though. Make it look like... Maybe move this one out towards the front here. And then we... Oh, come on, are you serious? This is not a... It's a grid piece. That's odd, but let's split from this building. We can still do this. It's not like... you can just do something like this. Move it out slightly. And there we go. There's that. Or do I want... you know what? Let's actually rotate this 90 degrees. Because I do like having those wood pillars kind of sticking out from the truck. And we'll kind of raise it up just a little bit there. So now we kind of have our basic idea. We'll go ahead and ooh, that doesn't look great. So what we'll do is we will cover it up. And that's kind of the idea here. These crates. I know we used a lot of crates in the seafood shack, but crates are always a good thing. Help hide a lot of your mistakes. They can, or at least they can. Something like this. Maybe look like the truck is carrying very important supplies. It's a little too large. You might be wondering why I'm not just using the truck I showed you a little earlier. That's not made by me, and I'd like to build, stuff that I use stuff I've built. I love the idea, and so that's why I'm like, all right, let's. Crap, did I not include that in? I probably didn't. All right, well, let's add that in real quick. Add edit. I feel like I should at least try to create as much as I can. If I pull inspiration from other people, I mean, that's rather common in Planet Coaster. Let's move this up just a little bit more so it looks like it's covering a little bit more there. This part was sticking out too, so honestly, why don't you just move the whole whole truck back some? Let's actually edit this, because if not, I'm going to move that whole building there. I just noticed that the crates are sticking out the top of the truck now. But I think I can actually hide this a little bit better in kind of in the cab of the truck. A little bit. Like that. Then I can put like crates and other things that make it look like the truck's been kind of raised up a little bit. I'm okay with that. And then let's see here. Come on. Let's lower this crate just a little bit here. Nope. Hold on. I want to lower this. Getting towards the end of the stream, I can feel it because it's starting to act up on me here. Once again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but something like this. And we probably can't cover up the kind of obvious here. The other thing we could do, though, is actually make a box, like a wood box, and just make like a fake store in here. Maybe. I don't know quite yet. But I like this so far. Let's actually use a couple of wood building pieces. I think that'll work. Once again, it won't be perfect, but let's see here. Wood. I don't want to use modern wood. I want to kind of use natural wood planks, maybe. If I did, hold on, let's see, let's do a 2 maybe. And then a 1. We can cover up the rest of it, I think. So let's see here. Don't think I want to put this around front, do I? Let's see here. We'd have to move everything out again, which I really don't want to do. So let's just leave that for right this second. If we do something like this, though, let's see how this looks. And we just put a a wall here. It's the wrong wall. There we go. I put a wall here and here, and just kind of make the back of shop here. I think this is kind of what we're going to go for. Yeah, it really does need to be surrounded, doesn't it? I think we can use something like this. And like that. I think that'll work. I think we're gonna have to pull the truck out no matter what. So let's just do the shop front here, just so that we have a surround in it. Oh, it's not what I wanted to do. Put it back one. Yes, that's what I wanted. And then all right, let's do this. Let's move the truck. We're gonna move it just slightly forward and to the left of the truck facing, like that. We also raise it up just a little bit, just to help cover a little bit. We can put it up on like stands or something like that later. We did something like that, and the natural wood look is not going to hurt it at all. If we did something like this. I want to lower it back down just a little bit. How's it look on top here? That looks better. I know I kind of took that from the other one, but I think I like that a little bit better. We'll now kind of the idea is we're just going to start stacking this truck up with different wares, stuff like that. But we are running out of time on the stream. I thought I could get this done, but apparently this is a lot more involved than I thought it would be. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put, to kind of help cover up this wall, is I'll make it a flat roof, because I don't quite think it's going to need anything else much more past that. Let's edit this building though. But I'll put a little door here, and this is how you're going to get into the shop. But I'll probably put some racks and stuff like that out here, just to make it look like there's more than just the truck to shop out of. That's where the register is going to be. Let's see here. Where's those walls at? Natural wood planks. Here we go. So I actually need the 1 meter high wall, like there and there. And we'll just surround it like that. And we'll put a roof here. And that's kind of how the shop, the actual building of the shop is going to go. And then out front here, we'll put things like the racks, stuff like here. We'll put, let's say on the side here, I really can't tell. But we'll put like, it'll look like, I'll show you what I mean. Hold on. Let's see. Scenery. Barrel. Hey, some of the bigger barrels, if I can find them, that should work. And that's actually what I want. That might be a little too big there. I think that might be a bit too small. This one, can we just have it stationary, please? On trigger, maybe. Now, hold on. If I do this, I hit Steam button. Is this too big? I think that's going to be too big for those, but this exploding barrel, if I do this right, I can make it look like we got cokes inside of it, which almost deleted half my building there in one foul swoop. Not a good idea. Well, all right. I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated with this game, so I think it's about time to wrap up. Well, I want to move this barrel over just a little bit so that Um, you know what? I forgot if I start moving it, it does explode again. Yeah, I don't think this is actually a part of the actual truck scenery, so we'll have to just fix that here momentarily. Yeah, there is that. Hopefully it doesn't go off when there's a guest there. That would be my luck. But yeah, there's kind of the start of our souvenir shop for the ride here. I think this is kind of the first ride we really go all in on, kind of on theming. Um, it's not gonna be like perfect theming. It's kind of a generic adventure theming. But I do like how this truck's gonna look. I love this. I like how there actually is a barrel that we can put drinks in. So, all right, guys. Well, let me go ahead and save the park here. Save park. I'm going to call it a stream there. I wish we got a little more progress done though, but we did get we got the idea done for we kind of got the idea for the Rabbids ride done. We got all the paths and everything connected up, so that's always good. Get a little scenery in here. The log jam looks good. The Thunder Falls is starting to look really good. So go ahead and pop this out here, guys. Well, thanks for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did enjoy this, please consider following me on Twitch. We just actually, I think, got number 19 today, so we're 19 or 20. So we're right at 40% of the way to getting to the affiliate goal, which is 50 people. So that's something I want to hopefully get here soon. Which it'd be great if you guys could help out. If you're watching this later on YouTube, I do appreciate that as well. I want to go ahead and leave a like and comment as well. That'd be fantastic. And hopefully you can come out for a live stream. I do this every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. I don't always stream Planet Coaster. I usually stream Planet Coaster on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, we've been playing Stardew Valley. We are actually about halfway through the summer on our second year there. We're probably going to try to go to the end of year 2 there. And the last thing on Fridays, we actually play Mech Warrior 5. We've been playing through the campaign on that, and I've been really enjoying that game as well. So if you guys can come out, that'd be great. 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I stream here on my channel. So if you guys can come out, it's great. But if not, guys, I'll see you guys on Thursday for some Stardew Valley. Hopefully we can get summer done and finished out. We get started on fall stuff. I'll see you guys then. You guys have a great night and a good Wednesday.